with the latest changes in the revenue sharing case, is that changing the way that you operate at building a roster at all? I know there's a change every 10 seconds right now, but like, is that changing the way that you operate in the
honestly,
right now?
Honestly, I just kind of put a pause on it to see what the final thing is. I think the thing that's got us out of whack is preemptively moving before the settlement is in place. So we just kind of paused it, and we'll roll with the punches whenever they come out.
Eli, you've told us so much about how over the past few years Luther really grow maturity-wise and being able to wait for his opportunity as far as on the field, but off the field as well. How have you seen that maturity and patience manifest in him?
Are you talking about Luther?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's grown so much as a human being, as a person, as a competitor, understanding that talent alone is not enough, work ethic, discipline, daily habits, being consistent in who he is. I think that's what's going to make him an elite pro. I think he's in a great situation, obviously, with a head coach, offensive coordinator who understands how to utilize players, how to get the ball into the players' hands, not putting a round peg in a square hole. And I think obviously they have a connection, both Noah and JMO. So I think that's going to be a great situation for Luther, and I don't think there's a lot of pressure on him. You know, there's a lot of really good players on that offense, and he can just be the best version of himself and help them win.
I know Ryan Poles was at that Boston College game. Are you able to talk about your conversation with Chicago at all?
Yeah, I mean, you know, they did their due diligence and background checks, and I had conversations with Coach Johnson, and I'm very excited about that.
I was member second team All SEC and seventh in the draft. What did everyone miss there, you think? Or is it just that the NFL saw some things, or did the media miss it on it?
Media votes based on brand recognition. I mean, that's obvious.
I mean, he should have been the first one, right? Based on talent. I mean, obviously.
I don't know. Looks like it to me. The left tackle went pick number 4, and the right tackle went pick number 7. So, you know, maybe if we were in a bigger media market, then maybe that would be different. But that's kind of the SEC. That's how it goes. So it is what it is. I don't think any of us get caught up too much in the recognition part of it.
How big is
it like for you to experience that moment with Armand?
Yeah, honestly, it's kind of a surreal moment and opportunity, really for everybody this weekend, but specifically being at Armand's house and being with Annie and his family and knowing the whole story and being with him for the 3 years, to see him get his name called. It was awesome. He's been at the weight room. He's been working out the past 2 days. So just watching that whole journey. Obviously, the same thing with Luther, you know, going through the ups and downs of the draft process and then seeing him, you know, reach his dreams is an awesome feeling.
Hey, Coach, I'm sure tonight already all the people you're talking to are asking about the quarterback.
Yeah.
Can you explain the state of the starting quarterback for your team and the competition and what it's going to take for one guy to rise?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or has one guy already risen?
No. The competition right now is between Sam Horn and Bo Pribula. I think both of them had really good springs. I think they both did a really good job of handling the offense, showing the ability to take what the defense gives us, but also create explosives down the field vertically in the pass game. I think they both have a really good understanding of what the offense is. I was honestly a little surprised at how quickly Bo was able to operate in the offense, just being new. But both of those guys have been really good, great leaders, consistent every day in their approach. The biggest thing is going to be consistency and then decision making. Obviously, anytime you're dealing with new quarterbacks, it's the mistakes that compound, and so whoever can limit the mistakes they make and not make the same mistake twice will ultimately be the person who's we count on to be our quarterback.
Seeing Sam like back in a baseball stadium in that competition, I mean, can you kind of speak to that, just seeing him back on the mound?
Yeah, what an incredible athlete and player. I don't know how many guys are able to do that, play elite level quarterback in the SEC and also be on the mound and throw 96 and strike out batters. And so for him to do that, living his dream, which is something that we talked about in the recruiting process, there's other schools that wouldn't let him do that. And we said, no, you're going to be able to do both here and do both at a really high level, and don't choose until you have to. And really proud of him for the way he's battled back. I mean, it's a serious injury, and there's ups and downs and doubt. And for him to battle through that and be on the mound is an awesome thing. I think he's going to pitch this weekend versus Georgia, so excited to see that.
Eli, you've been around guys that became NFL quarterbacks. Brady's going to get a shot with the Jets. But what does he need to do to get up to that level?
Yeah, again, I think it's going to come down to consistency. Obviously, he's got the talent. He's going to have to learn the offense, get an opportunity, and then when he gets that opportunity, consistently make the right decisions, which, you know, he's been in a quarterback competition a lot here at the University of Missouri, and so I don't think the pressure of performance will matter to him. I think he'll handle it with grace like he always does.
Players are coming there. Is it as strong as it's been in a long time?
Yeah, I mean, I drove down here, had to go to Giola's Deli and get a hot salami sandwich. I went over to Grandma's Cookies. I mean, I got my spots here in St. Louis. You know, I've got the people that I really am invested in, and obviously the sports fans. So love the city, love being here.
I remember with Local Review, I think it was his high school coach I interviewed when he came to Mizzou, and just speaking about his leadership off the charts. What have you seen so far that stood out to you from that standpoint?
Consistency of performance, consistency of who he is. He's a guy who works out all the time. I went on an indoor walk today because of the storms coming through, and Bo's in there throwing, you know, working on his craft. You know, he's very consistent about trying to improve and has a daily routine, and I think that shows to his teammates what they can expect from him.
How much of a difference does it make now that you put kids in the NFL? You get a couple of first-round draft choices when you're recruiting either in the portal or high school.
Yeah, I think recruiting is all about either sharing a vision for the future or talking about what you've accomplished in the past. And believe me, it wasn't me. It was their parents. It was the opportunity at the University of Missouri, and it was surrounded by great teammates and strength and conditioning and athletic performance. And I think Ryan Russell's team, along with Liz and Zach, I think all of that coming together, elite position coaching, player development, fundamentals. You know, how many times are the scouts or GMs talked about the fundamental development of Armand over the course of the season, which is a tribute to Coach Jones. I think, you know, there's a lot of people that had a lot to do with it, and hopefully there's people in St. Louis right now. Hopefully there's defensive ends or offensive linemen or skilled receivers who see that and say, hey, I don't have to go anywhere else. I can go to the University of Missouri and I can achieve my dreams. I can be a first-round draft pick. I can start on the biggest stages here in the country playing football for the Tigers.
Eli, with Gavin Hoffman, just what does he add to the offense, and what do you make of the competition in that tight end room?
Yeah, it was awesome to get Gavin back. Obviously, he was a guy we recruited out of high school. And it was really one of those opportunities to have a best player available. You know, Brett and Jordan have established themselves as elite players at that position, very consistent. But you can never have enough 6'5", 240-pound guys who run and can catch the ball and add value on special teams. And you know, Gavin didn't get to play very much last year, but watching the tape of what he was able to do, I anticipate he'll find a role for us.
Similar.
Fourth straight year starting the season on Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Yeah. I was supposed to ask what went behind the decision to make that move, and are you pushing for this to be permanent tradition type of thing?
There's a lot of different things that play into that role or the decision. You know, the strategic part is we get to open camp 3 days earlier. It gives us an opportunity to play that first game and gives us an extra time to prepare for our week 2 opponent, which is a pretty important game for us in the state. So, you know, that played a large part into it. The second thing is, you know, that's Labor Day weekend. An hour south of us is a pretty popular spot for a lot of people and a lot of fans, and we want to provide them the opportunity to do everything that they want. The last weekend of the lake season, we want them to be able to do that, but we also want them to be able to support us, play on Thursday night. And then, you know, really the last component is the opportunity to really be one of the few shows on TV. And so you got an opportunity to tell recruits, hey, we're going to be on TV, watch us. You put your brand recognition on national TV. It won't play out exactly this way this year, but in the past, when we play on Thursday, we're able to get an extra Friday night on the road recruiting. And so we get out early and go see everybody. So there's a lot of benefits to doing it, and it's been something that's worked well for us. And so we're going to continue to do it as long as the administration will support us.
Can you speak on Jalen Early yet?
Who?
Jalen Early.
I can speak on it.
Okay. Well, what is his versatility just kind of bring to the offensive line competition?
Yeah. You know, look, at the end of the day in this conference, it's about winning in the trenches, right? Offensive line and defensive line. And we felt like we just have to continue to add valuable depth. And that's a guy that availability came about. And so we said, hey, look, we can add a guy who's got a lot of career starts at both guard, tackle, and we're still in the search of our best 5, and so we're going to throw him in that mix and see who shakes out the best 5.
Overall, with your offense, can you put excitement into your own words with people coming back, people you brought in, the whole thing?
Yeah, I think whether we're talking about offense, special teams, or defense, I think there's a level of excitement because of the level of depth and competition that we've created. And it's going to be about establishing an identity early and really playing to that identity. Obviously offensively, we were not what we wanted to be from an explosive standpoint or scoring standpoint. And so that's something that we've got to really reestablish. And we want to be a team that can score at will. And we weren't able to do that last year. And so we got to get back to that. It starts with adding good players, right? We've got plenty of offensive weapons. When you have Kevin Coleman, Ahmad Hardy, you got Brett Norfleet, you got Marquise Johnson, Josh Manning, Donovan. You got a lot of really good pieces right there. You got Jamal Roberts, Marquise Davis at the running back position. And now it's going to be about establishing an offensive line that can protect and establish the run to allow you to throw the ball vertically down the field.
Coach, you just talked about all those skilled players and what you liked about them, but what about someone like Xavier Lloyd? Why was he a good fit to bring to the team?
Yeah, you know what, that was a really key addition for us. We just felt like, again, with the leadership position of losing Theo and Mookie and the reliability of those guys, we needed another veteran presence, a guy who had multiple position flexibility, a guy who can play on the outside and be a guy who can consistently get open and make plays vertically down the field. We really believe in Donovan and what he'll be able to do, and Josh and Marquise, but it's a long season. We plan on playing a long time, so we got to have enough depth.
Great, thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks.
thank you.